Hi beautiful friends, welcome to today's video. I want to talk about how to evolve and adapt within a relationship at this time. So in these times, what we can do to take the pressure off of this right at the beginning of the conversation is to acknowledge that everyone is going through this. All of us. There's not anyone exempt from this. Everyone is going through it, and we are all navigating a lot of evolving and adapting within our relationships. In today's video, I'm going to speak to relationships that are very, very close to you, like within our adulthood. So partners in marriage, or even very, very close friendships. I know for myself, I've had really, really very close friendships with other women that have been just as heartbreaking and life-changing as my romantic relationships with men. So I'm talking about these deep heart connections that we have with one another. What we must make a priority is this deep connection on a soul and spirit level, and allow for personalities, tendencies, habits, communication styles to evolve and change. Because when we go through a time such as this, our beliefs start to shift and start to change. And so that means that our personalities and everything else is shifting along with that. And so when that happens, how do you adapt and evolve together in a relationship? Connecting to the why you are in that relationship, and not why right now in this moment, but I'm talking about like the kind of experience that we hear about when people have a near-death experience, and it's almost like they relive that entire relationship in a second, right? You see all these flashes and moments and feelings and experiences that happened with those people that you are connected to on a soul level. It's about being able to see beyond a superficial moment. Okay, so that's what I mean. It's about being able to see beyond whatever the superficial things that are feeling off, because those things can drop away, right, and change, and they aren't forever. I'm asking for you to think about this person that you're in this relationship with, and tuning into the foreverness about it, the past life together feelings, the future lives together feelings. I'm asking you to step into that kind of present moment beyond time, and to really feel into that person's spirit and soul, and ask, is there more here? And when I've been really humble enough to do that, there have been a few things that happen. Okay, here's like a little list of things that happen. One, yes, absolutely, it's time to have a conversation like tonight with this person. This needs to be addressed. You've been avoiding it. We need to, speak some truth. The other has been, yes, but not now. Give yourself some space, because more will be revealed. Okay? Or it's time to give yourself even more space, and to even like completely remove the cords of attachment that have developed between the two of you. And then we get into energy clearing, right? And coming back to our own spirit. And I've had to do that even like within my own marriage, like completely removing these old vows, these old agreements, and refreshing myself, and then coming back as that resurrected version of the woman that I am. And it's like, here's the new terms and conditions that I am operating within. Would you like to operate within those new terms and conditions with me? I've done that a lot of times, like 6 times. And that's not this easy breezy, beautiful, kind of conversation. What I have always been guided to in the relationships that still continue on is that the visual is a mirror, is that there is a mirror that this relationship shows to me that is profoundly helpful in my personal growth towards my highest potential. I cannot, and no one, you can definitely get, advice from elders and people who have a lot of experience here that could absolutely shape and attune your own inner voice for what is best for you. But I'm just trying to give some examples of the visuals that can come when it's there's still more here to be worked out. And I've had plenty of relationships where it was time for that relationship to, it is complete. And there's a bow, right? There's okay, there's so much strength to be gained from walking away from relationships that no longer serve you. There's just so much. And it can take time, like real time, real linear years of time where those completions complete themselves. There's like a moment where you're like, well, I thought I was done with this person, and then you have a dream or you have an encounter, all of a sudden they're just like they're in your mind again. And embrace that until the charge is no longer there. Write it out and then burn the paper. Do whatever you need to. It's just like the full, like pouring out onto the page, right? And then burning it again and being really gentle with yourself and knowing that you're doing the best that you can. But really have the courage to show up to those breakups, and then really have the courage as well to know when you are in a relationship where it's like this perfectly angled mirror that's showing you something about yourself that you're curious about, that you do need help with in seeing for yourself, right? And that's what our relationships do. They hold the mirror in a way that we can't. They show us life through their perspective. Recognition of the perfect harmony of that relationship, and recognizing that there's a harmonic to that relationship, but it doesn't always mean that it's nice or even kind. Sometimes that there's a real directness that comes through, right? To really, because that person loves you so much and just feels that it is their duty to show you life in the way that they are perceiving it, right? We can't punish each other for being so passionate, right? Or being so in love. I think, obviously yes to boundaries and knowing when enough is enough, but I think that also, go for it. Full-blown, primal, passionate self in your relationship is how I want to be living my life. And it keeps me closer to ecstasy and eroticism and more of those absolute yeses to the beauty of our human experience and the divinity in that, and the medicines that are in those experiences. I have developed so much emotional maturity by being able to be in committed relationships. And I think it was Jordan Peterson who said something along the lines, I'm not quoting him, but it was essentially if you make it to 15 years of marriage, it's not a celebration. It's this, it's really it's like a celebration of your fortitude and your will, and that's beautiful. And I'm happy to embrace that in a really lighthearted way. I will take a minute for those of you who enjoyed the karmic marriage video. Since that is aired, since I filmed it and since it's aired, there have been light years of progress in my own marriage. Places of trust and gentleness and compassion and like beautiful patience and listening between my husband and I that I haven't ever experienced. What I'm feeling to remind you is that you came here to be supported in community and in relationships. Now, maybe it's taken you a while to find those people. And maybe you're frustrated with that, and that is understandable. And maybe you thought it was this person and it wasn't. And then you thought it was the other person and it wasn't. And maybe you're reaching a place where you are feeling like, well, maybe they aren't out there. And I just have to step in and say, when nobody's perfect, okay? So if there's some sort of like perfect idea that you have in your mind of who that person is going to be for you, it doesn't exist, okay? There are moments of perfection, but there is not a marathon of perfection or years of perfection. Years meaning like after a couple years, right? You start, the human comes out, and it's supposed to be that way. I want to remind you that you're not here to do things alone. And so to be really careful about the beliefs that you decide to invite into your bed at night. If one of those beliefs is, I guess I'm just supposed to do this alone, you will. And if the belief can shift and be a little bit more gentle, I think that's a better way to be with yourself and to be with this life. We all deserve family and partnership, and it's going to look totally different across, like that's going to look very, very different from family to family. And you always get to be the creator of that. I wish it didn't take so many years sometimes, and then other times I'm so grateful that it does. I'm so grateful that it does, because how else do you do something worthwhile? How else do you create something that feels like a legacy? You put your entire lifetime into it. And I know for myself, the relationships in my life are a part of that, a huge part of that. And you deserve that. So don't tell yourself otherwise. Be gentle with those stories that you're telling yourself. I love you so much. Sending you a big, big, big hug. There's resources for you in the description of this video, and I hope that you like and subscribe. That helps out so much. Or share this with someone who needs to see it today. I love you. I'll see you in the next video.